If you could spend your days, if you were 100% in control, you never had to exchange time for money, not ever, what would you do and what would be the longevity of that?
I was saying things that I would do because they'd be interesting to me, but they still would make money. For example, the first thing I think that I said, I didn't say that. I would need to be learning something that can either benefit myself individually, let's say it's investing or understanding the world or being a better dad or whatever the hell it is, or our business. What I just started to think of is like, okay, let's say tomorrow I don't need to improve, or like there isn't a business benefit to any of those things. What do I do with all that time? Am I still interested to learn about that even though I'm not going to actually put it into use?
Probably not.
That's kind of devastating. Welcome back to another episode of the Who Cares podcast, the podcast for business leaders, entrepreneurs, change makers, difference seekers who do care. I am Jeff Jackel.
And I'm Jay O'Brien, and we just changed the name of the podcast to the Clientgiant.
So, kind of special guest here. Well, today I have with me Conan O'Brien. Conan?
God, I wish I had his height. I've got his hair, I just don't have his height.
It's so good.
How tall is that guy? 6'4" or something?
I think, yeah, at least minimum. I've seen him in person once, and it's daunting. You don't see like a big, tall, white Irishman that's that. Yeah.
I'm neutralizing my EMFs on my phone, just so you are aware.
Same. Thanks
now,
to your wife.
I feel like we're just getting hammered with fan mail lately, and I want to really kind of pump the brakes as much as we can on that. I think we should change the name of the podcast.
Are you serious? Should we have planned this? Do you really?
I mean, I just think Clientgiant is so much more subtle. No one will ever find that. So I asked you a question last week that was just like a for funsies question, and it was alarming at how bad you were at answering the question. And I want to bring it up again now.
Are you talking about God again?
No. This was off camera.
Oh.
And it's kind of interesting because of how we are hardwired to just not understand the real root of what I'm asking, which was, let me rewind a second.
Oh my God.
Did you ever take like, was it careers? Is that a class? Careers? Career planning?
I got to tell you something. I got to tell you something.
Careers.
I got to tell you something.
Careers?
This is not meant to hurt your feelings. The kids who, like the kids about whom they were not worried about what their careers would be, didn't take that class.
No, this was a mandatory class.
Nope, no, it wasn't.
Actually, come to think of it, there were a bunch of people in the continuation school in it.
It's weird. There was always a Marine there with a sign-up sheet.
No, it was a semester, and it was a class, I think it was called careers. Anyway, the whole thing was careers. It was freshman year of high school. And one of the exercises they do is like, what do you want to be when you grow up, whatever. But, one of the most common exercises is like, if you didn't have to care about money or blah, 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 what would you do? You've heard that one before.
If you ask me what's it all for, I'm going to get up and walk out.
I asked you, if you had an endless amount of money today, what would you do? And for the next hour, every single question you had or statement you made was about things you do to make money and not thinking you had enough money. Where in the example, I said, you have endless amounts of money. What do you do all day, every day now moving forward? And you're like, well, how much money? Doesn't matter how much money. It's enough. So what do you do? And you're like, well, I'd probably like invest in these things. Why? What do you do every day and why?
Okay.
How do you spend your days?
So I'm going to take contest with what you thought I was asking. The questions that I were asking, in one form, you thought that they were for the reason of producing money. I was saying things that I would do because they'd be interesting to me, but they still would make money. So just by the nature of them still making money, you thought that that was the driver. Just because I would do something doesn't mean that the driver has to be the money. So like, for example, the first thing I think that I said was...
buying rental properties in Barstow?
I didn't say that. Great, we just lost all our listeners in Barstow. Barstow's kind of great, by the way.
I don't think they have smartphones out there.
Okay, Jesus, we're canceled by Barstow. So like, for example, one of the first things that I said was, I enjoy, well, and I'll caveat a bunch of these things, but I enjoy aspects of like bringing information, bringing knowledge to people, doing speaking engagements. We were saying like, and I said I would do it like if we were doing them together, which I think we will. That would be fun. You're traveling, like the traveling part sucks. Any speaking engagement sucks. Like sucks no matter how many times you've done it. You still get like anxious and nervous, and you want to make sure that you do a great job. You want to make sure you get people excited and energized and to learn and yada yada yada. So there's negatives to it, but I said like I think I would do that, and because money comes from that, you took that as, but you don't need the money. Or like when I said
you want to go get pent up in a Courtyard Marriott and review your slide deck to speak to 500 people at this banquet hall tomorrow morning.
So
for funsies.
So
for fun.
From a treehouse.
Here call the cops. He's not calling from a treehouse.
Think about the people that think about if you named on your hand 5 people, 10 people that you would go and pay money to see speak right now. I could name 5 of them for you if you can't name them yourself. Every single one of them has enough money to never work again. They have an endless supply of money, roughly. The first person that you have gone to is Tony Robbins. That guy's an endless supply of money. Why is he still talking? Do you think he's still talking to make more money? Honestly?
I couldn't tell you.
Ferris, Gary Vee, Hormozy, people that you would go and hear speak and be excited by and be energized by and just like be around that buzz, and that would be great. Some of them I guess are doing it to continue grow wealth and grow their businesses, but a lot of
I always have fancied myself a Tony Robbins, so I appreciate the compliment.
Okay, other things. My goal or my non-retirement, because I never will retire. We had a conversation about this morning. Like I'm always putting 10 pounds in a 5-pound bag. If there is like 3 hours of time, I will figure out a way to like do 17 things and run.
The best part about it is you're like, and I'm never late. You're late to all of them. Every single thing.
I wasn't late to a single one today.
I feel like I need to just show you what a calendar is and like buy time and show you that if something is at 10 and you show up at 10:08, you're late.
But I'm almost never showing up at 10:08.
This is you got the Randy Kohler effect. You are absolutely out of your mind bonkers. You're late to everything. Everything.
Tell me the last time I was late to something.
Today.
What?
Today you were late. You were supposed to start the podcast at 2. It's 2:37.
No, I was here and this room was set up. We just didn't do it because we didn't have a topic.
Incorrect.
It's totally correct. Think about the last meeting.
It'll be exhausting, but I will, if you want, I will tell you every single time you're late, and it won't be hard because it'll happen in the next 24 hours. It's the Randy Kohler effect.
You're likening me to somebody who is habitually ridiculously late to everything.
In his mind, I think he actually doesn't understand it. In his mind, I think he's like,
but so like,
I guess I'm kind of sometimes late. Like, no, dude.
For example,
always insanely late. And you're not insanely late, but you're always late.
Today, I had a 9 a.m. meeting that was a 1-hour meeting. I had a 10:30 meeting. So I had 30 minutes in between there. And then I had an 11:30. Okay, so I had 2 30-minute breaks in between them. What I am bad at is, so I had a 9 a.m. meeting. I played tennis at 7. I played tennis from 7 till 8:30. I thought that I could shower, get home, shower, and get to the office in 30 minutes.
No, I know what being late means.
But here's the point. Then I thought that in between the 10 that ended, which ended a little bit after time because it went long.
That's called late.
No. It's not being. I wasn't late for the meeting. It went long. Listen. The 10:30, I had to bring you something on the way, and I had a 10:30. Here's my point. I was not late for the 9 a.m. meeting. I was not late for the 10:30 meeting, and I was not late for the 11:30 meeting. But the 30 minutes that were in between each one of those were frantic as fuck.
Okay, I'll show you.
Where was this coming from, or where was I?
You were saying because lately you're fitting 10 pounds of things in 5-pound bags, and I don't even know where those bags are.
The point was I'll never do nothing, or I'm very bad at relaxing. I'm very bad at this. So like since I've been an entrepreneur for over 20 years, like I've always wanted to at some point be either an investor or an advisor to probably younger people. Eventually, not right now, but who are building companies. I want to be around like that energy of like, we're building something out of nothing. We don't have a map. We don't have a compass, like, or barely have a compass. We're like we talk about, like we're whacking the weeds and trying to figure out where the hell to go. I want to be around that. So would I count on that to make money? I don't know. Like, I'd probably only be investing in those things if it didn't matter whether they made money or didn't make money. But those are things that they could make money, but I wouldn't be doing them to make money.
So that becomes a passion project.
I mean, once you're doing things like anything that you're asking, you're saying you got enough money, it doesn't matter. Everything that you have to consider that you would want to do is for passion. But like, if it was like,
No,
oh,
what
dude,
I'm saying is I don't think people can get there. I don't think people can get there in their mind. I think there is no number that's enough, is my point, to like your psyche. I think that accumulation is like a disease, that it's just like, even if you have endless whatever, you're like, how about more? Like, how do I get more? And I think most people fall into that trap. So I'm curious, like, we asked this question in our friend group, what do you love to do? Because one of our buddies who doesn't, I don't think he needs to work, doesn't want to sell his company because he's like, I'm 42, 43 years old. What would I do all day? I'm like, I don't know. Do anything you want. He's like, I like doing this. I'm like, what do you like doing? I like making deals. Like,
okay, so
you wake up every day and you want to make a deal. Like that's what you love to do. Is that right?
yeah, I probably fall into that category. But that's also a really different thing. I actually talked to him a little bit about that this morning. It was like, what is so that individual specifically, what does he love to do? He loves to play golf. He loves to play tennis. He loves anything athletic. He loves to surf. He loves to literally spend his days like outdoor, acting like he's like 15 years old, right? It's one of my favorite things about him because it makes me do some of those things too. Like, all that dude needs is like some sort of physical activity, athletic activity that's competitive, because most of his things he doesn't do without somebody else. He gets to do that a lot. Last week when he was like, dude, I worked so much this week. I worked 60 hours. And we're like, do you think you mean like 16? Because you played golf yesterday, the day before, and you're playing it right now. So the reality is a lot of people are in situations where they're making that money and they can already do the things they love to do. Like he literally said today, he's like, I do what I do because I absolutely love it. Like, he's like, I would be miserable if I wasn't doing this. And he's like,
That's
so
the part that I'm so curious about.
what is?
He's saying, I do what I do, not the tennis. I do what I do, meaning the work, every day because I love it so much.
In your mind, change our scale at our company to the scale of his. Because that's what I said to him. I was like, he'll say certain things that I say. I think you forget a lot of the time that, like,
I can't think of this company being smaller. It's already just enormous.
but really, so like, think of the scale that they are at, and probably not as many people, but like, think of the scale that they are at. And by the way, his company's been around for 50 years. So it's kind of a different ball game or something. I don't know, 50, 40 years. But the problems, the challenges that you have at a company at a certain size, they just wouldn't.
I never said I don't want to do it.
They wouldn't exist.
What you want to do?
I know you don't want to do it. You don't have to ask that.
What I want to do.
Yeah, what do you want to do?
I just, it's like it'd be like my version of The Sopranos, just having like, instead of your Italian neighborhood spot, it's like your jazz supper club.
Okay.
You can just find me there every night, and there's probably going to be 7 to 12 people at any given time. And that includes the band. And I'm just going to be sipping a martini and, just catching up on my correspondence there.
Rachel Green, if anybody doesn't catch that reference. Okay, actually play that out. I know you're half joking, but you're mostly not. Jazz Supper Club probably opens at 5 p.m.
Sure. Well,
what the hell is it?
I was like golfing before that.
Yeah. Okay, so you're golfing 7 days a week.
Well, I'd like to clock in with my daughter for a hot second and see what she's doing.
But really, what else? I mean, we talk about this a lot. Like, I got a lot of hobbies. Like,
I guess the reason I asked that question is because the answer is harder than you think. Because even if you're notoriously bad at vacationing, but like, even if you go on vacation and you're like, I'm disconnecting, this is going to just be a hedonistic free-for-all, I'm going to drink myself silly, eat myself silly, and just have a great time. By the time you get to day 6, you're pretty depressed.
Dude, day 3 would be depressing.
Like, you run out of gas pretty quick, and even though on paper it's very relaxing, you've like blown out all the endorphins. It's over.
It's a reason that a bachelor party can only be like 2 nights.
It's the reason why everyone leaves to go to Vegas on a Friday and is like so stoked, and then Sunday they are so down in the dumps.
Yeah,
it's literally like, this is so polar opposite. But anyway, I asked the question because, and again, not to say any one of us is ever going to have endless amounts of money, but I think it's an interesting activity. It's an interesting exercise to say, if you could spend your days, if you were 100% in control, you never had to exchange time for money, not ever, what would you do and what would be the longevity of that?
I would argue you don't need to have endless amounts of money. We could.
It's a metaphor.
No, I know, but I'm saying like to actually find out how people do this, and we should, and we're going to start having guests on here. But like, think about either one of our father-in-laws. They're not. It's not like they have endless amounts of money, but like they're done working. They're fine. Like they're gonna live forever and be fine and pass money down to their heirs, and like they're all good. Like it doesn't need to be like the actual dollar amount doesn't matter. Once whatever you have set aside and you're comfortable with and you feel confident that you can live with forever with, or essentially like you're never eating into your principal and blah, 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 then how do you live? Like what do you do all day, right? So like
for those two folks, is there any element of boredom in their days? I don't know the answer to that.
My father-in-law, it could be at times, I think it's been less recently, but he was probably spending 30 to 40 hours a week on Ancestry.com at one point, like literally digging.
That's actually a great example. That's a passion project.
Totally passion
So
project.
he can go deep on that thing and hours will go by and he won't even realize it because he's so deeply entrenched in the thing he's doing.
Totally.
That's a great example.
Have you seen the books? There's two, but you haven't. I'll show you. There's books. He made books for me and Ash and for his son Adam and his wife Jamie. They're huge books. They're like, they've got to be 400 pages each, and there's two of them, and it's printed pages that he had done of each one of our families dating back as far as he can go. And their family goes back to like the 1200s or 1100s or something like that. It's like, it's insane. There's hundreds, if not thousands of dead people in this book.
Wow.
And that's what he does. He's passionate about it. Like they just went on a trip to, like Midwest. Yeah, they were in Wisconsin. They visited like 7 cemeteries of family members, just to, like see them, and he just wants to like learn about where.
Crazy to me.
He went back. He just recently went back, like his 4th great grandfathers or something like that. 13 of them, I want to say, or I don't remember the exact numbers. He got all of them honorary status as like the founding fathers of a state. So like this is what he's passionate about. So you find
beyond my mom and really just my mom, barely sort of kind of my dad. I don't know anyone. I don't go. I'm not like, I wonder who my grandparents were. I'm like, I wonder who my grandparents were.
Do you care?
My point is, the deeper you go, I guess it's less interesting to me because at the surface, I never met a biological grandfather. So like, let's start there.
Yeah,
that would be a great place to start. Is just know who that person was.
At one point were you going to talk to Dale and have him look or something, or did he?
I don't know. But
so he would do this, and that has nothing to do with him. He'd be like, no, I think it's like, he would just be like, that's really cool that Jay wants to know this lineage and whatever.
What do you know? Just their names? And when
No. He would honestly, like, if he could get enough information, he would finally be like, okay, so your great grandfather was this person. He came over to the country on this day in 1886, and it looks like he finds all sorts of shit. He's like, it looks like his previous last name had been this, but I see the records where it shifted here, so he must have in the immigration changed his name. Or maybe that was just because my ancestors were Jewish and they had to hide it. But there's all sorts of stuff. He could track it back, and then he goes to find out, gets information from the other country. Finds out, okay, well, where did they go prior to that?
I love a summary on like someone's life.
Yes, he would give you all this information, and you'd be like, TLDR. Too long didn't read. You don't do that.
Too long didn't read. That's interesting. So anyway, that's his passion. The whole reason I bring this up is that I just thought it was an interesting exercise to get ourselves out of the headspace of constantly having to do something in exchange for something else. And instead, it's just like, what do you want to do? What sounds fun? What's going to be your ancestry DNA like Dale? What's going to be that thing that you do every day that you're passionate about? And I think it's investing.
No, I mean, I don't know. I can't put myself in the mind frame of being older, and I don't know what my physical capabilities would be, but like right now, whenever,
I mean, you're no spring chicken.
Think about right now what you do. Whenever you have time, for me, whenever I have time that is not at like working or not with my family, I'm playing tennis or I'm playing golf. I haven't been surfing recently, but they're all physical activities that are like things that I enjoy to do. Or actually, you know what a big one is?
Coin collecting.
That's fucking interesting. You just hit me with something I've never thought about that's really, really weird.
Coin throwing away.
This is actually something I've never thought about. This is probably the most impactful thing for me about this question that I don't know why I hadn't realized. I have pretty much never been able to read for pleasure. Like, I don't read nonfiction. I just can't, because something in my brain tells me.
You mean?
I don't read fiction. Right. I've never really been able to read fiction books because every time I do it, something in my brain is constantly telling me that I could be improving myself in some way. Not being productive. I feel like, which I don't agree with, because obviously I went to film school. I believe in creativity. I believe in storytelling. I think it actually does change you. But for whatever reason, with books, the time and energy that it takes to devote to those, I feel like it's such a laborious process that, like, I would need to be learning something that can either benefit myself individually, let's say it's investing or understanding the world or being a better dad or whatever the hell it is, or our business, right? So same thing with, like, I probably spend, I would have to like track it, and it would be embarrassing. I probably spend over 20 hours a week recently, or in the last 5 years, watching YouTube and or listening to podcasts that almost no one listens to. They're not even like fun business ones, to like get better at certain things. Like, whether
So you're saying you would exchange that for something that's more a leisurely listen or read.
What I just started to think of is, like, okay, let's say tomorrow I don't need to improve, or like there isn't a business benefit to any of those things. There isn't, like, let's say you're pretty much done like growing your businesses and your, with your career. What do I do with all that time? Am I still interested to learn about that shit even though I'm not going to actually put it into use?
Probably not.
That's kind of devastating. Like, that's a huge part of who I am, have always been. Like, I'm constantly learning shit and wanting to like improve and understand things better or whatever. But my brain only does it because I think I can put them into practice. So once you're like, I'm not going to put this into practice,
you'd find something new. Like, I'll tell you this, last year when I was doing that woodworking stuff, it was the most energized I had been in years. I mean, just like when we started this company, it's like, it's fresh, it's new. It's like, oh my God, it's so exciting or whatever. Or when I got into real estate, same thing. You want to like digest everything. For this was like more uncharted than both of those things, And so I was just glued to YouTube videos and like just listening and watching and reading and whatever. And it just ignites something in you. You actually really, really are so stoked on it. For me, there were just a couple projects that were very specific. And once those got done, I stopped.
Yeah.
Right.
You're not doing it for someone else. You're doing it for yourself.
But then I did move to the wine thing, and it was the same exact feeling, but for something else. Totally. And that's probably what you would do. But also something I'm surprised that you haven't mentioned, like traveling.
Yeah.
Do you have any interest in that, or do you just not care? There's some, like, I have a buddy who's never been anywhere. He doesn't care. He just doesn't care. Doesn't want to go anywhere.
No, I have an interest. It's not burning passion like a lot of people. There's places that I want to go, but it's not like the ends of the earth. I don't have a huge desire to.
But for someone like you who's so like, you trip out every time you get off an airplane and we're in Vegas. It's like, you're like, dude, we were just in Santa Ana. How are we in Vegas? Like, when you do that in like Taiwan or something, it's like, not only is that even more mind blowing, but it's like these street signs and the people and the language and the food. You're like, where am I? Like, it's like I always equate to like Little Monsters, that movie. It's like, did you ever see Little Monsters? Fred Savage, Ben Savage, they go under the bed every night and they're in this like alternate universe with monsters and stuff. That's how I look at traveling.
How old do you think you got to be to show a kid, or has a kid got to be to see that movie?
It's a kid's movie.
Okay, I can show the kids now.
You could have shown them 5 years ago.
Well, there was one, so I probably wouldn't have.
But that's actually how I look at traveling. Is like, I go when I'm in the Tom Bradley International Airport, LAX, I'm about to go under the bed. And once I take off and land, like when I'm in that new place, I am officially under the bed. And all the monsters that you befriend and all these people, they're all these like major characters in your movie, but only for 10 days.
Sure.
I mean, I'll meet someone that I'll get really close with for 10 days, who's a complete stranger, who I have dinner with almost every night, like, and then we'll never see them again. It's crazy. And it's like, that's just one little blip on this area of the map. And it's like, well, next time I'll be on this area of the map and it'll be a new person. It's just so fascinating to me.
I don't want to take this tangent now, but at some point we should talk about like how that has changed. Well, you're not on social media now, but how that changed over time. I've read a bunch about like, 30 years ago, you would have gone to these places, you'd have dinner with somebody every single night for a week, and then they literally are gone out of your lives. And it's something that you remember, and it makes an imprint on you, and it becomes a memory, and you take with it, from it what you can. And then it all changed with like the internet and social media and communities that are digitized, where it's like, I remember a friend's little sister saying this 10 plus years ago. She's like, she had gone to sleepaway camp. She was probably like, I don't know, a teenager or a young teenager. And she was like, these people I'm not supposed to know these people forever. She's like, I went to camp with that person. I hung out with them for a summer. I'm supposed to just like, that's supposed to be that summer. And it's supposed to be what it is. And it is what it is. And it's a memory, and it's good or it's bad or it's whatever. But like, now I'm going to see what this person, like when this person gets married 10 years from now, because they're still on my feed of
I think that part's really cool. I that's one of the things I do miss about social media.
But it's also kind of like a negative. No,
actually, that stuff to me is the reason to be on social media. I don't need to know what this guy that I see every week's doing, like I don't care. There's countless people I was friends with on Facebook that I met just like that, when I was traveling or doing, and this person was like a tour guide or something, and you're like, or our driver for 7 hours one day in Iceland, and you're like, now I know that he's got 2 kids. I know this. You're like, it's kind of cool, like to have your finger on the pulse for this. I look at it differently. That part of it was really cool.
It is cool, but like, and maybe I don't know, a curmudgeon with it, but sometimes I'll find people I don't go on Facebook anymore, but now like I'll do it occasionally. I'll see something on there about someone, and I'm like, why am I still looking at this? Like, this is like,
who's that person though? Because
that's a good example.
They can't be that disconnected.
It's a good example. It's like somebody who, a previous company that I had did some event in, like a trade show or something. And then I met this like guy who had this clothing company who whatever. And we just exchanged, I became a follower. Now I'm like,
that's probably pretty surface level compared to what I'm talking about. Like,
you said tour guide. I'm literally picturing you like taking a tour through the White House.
No, it's like, okay, the guy that just popped in my mind was like this guy who picked us up in this van at like 4:30 in the morning in Iceland, and we started this drive around all of Iceland. And everything's so spread out there, so it takes hours to get to this waterfall and like whatever. So he's responsible for recommendations and like the temperature in the car and the music and where you're eating lunch, and like you have no clue who this person is. You're just like, I'm just trusting you, and it's me and my friends or my family and you. And 8 hours later you get pretty close. But outside of that, I'm thinking this.
So you spent 8 hours with this guy?
At least. Yeah, at least.
So you think about that. Like you spent 8 hours with this guy once, driving. He's driving you around, and you're gonna know what he's going on in his life for the rest of your life.
Yeah, kind of. Like,
not that that's a bad thing. It's
kind of. He might be maybe not the best example. Let me give you another one. This guy, his name is Dennis. I was in Greece, met him, and ended up like he just got included in our group, and we're at the beach together every day and at dinner, and you just got so in the fold. Well, if you break it all out, like how many hours was it? It's definitely more than 8, but even still, it's concentrated.
That's like camp. That's very similar.
Right, like camp, okay? Yeah. So, or even these dating shows, right? Like Love is Blind or whatever. It's like they're in love. You're like, you've known this person 4 days. Well, the way I look at this is I'm like, yeah, okay, you could minimize it like that. But when I went on my first date with Ash, how long was that date? 3 hours? Then I went on another one. How long was that? 2.5 hours? Then I went on another one. How long was that? 3 hours? It's like, by the time I was like in love with her, it was probably only 15, 20 hours of time. You know what I mean? Mm. But it was a month of dating or whatever, that example is. Yeah. The difference is so concentrated. So the camp, I never went to camp, but I could.
And we all know that you weren't talking on the phone with her because you don't talk on the phone. So you literally just seeing her every few days.
Early days, I talked. Early days.
Yeah. So against your rules.
Yeah, I know. No, now I have an AI agent that talks to her. So
People will do that. That's absolutely how people. Someone just listened to that and they're like, "Oh my god, that's a great idea."
But I can understand the camp thing because you're like, not only do you get so deeply entrenched, but it's like, breakfast, lunch, dinner, morning, night.
Sure.
Like
And it's an
best friends
experience.
forever and all
and
that
you're
shit.
and you're away from your family. Wait, I want to go back real fast to your thing to woodworking and wine and whatnot, because you the way that you said it when I was talking about Dale, my father-in-law, his ancestry.com, you're like, he just gets like immersed in it and can do it for whatever. If I think of those things, I don't know what that's called. I'm sure there's like a scientific or psychological reason for it, but woodworking is one thing. Painting is another, but literally both painting like a wall or fence or whatever, but then also like artistic painting are things in my life historically that I have felt that way about, where like I'm completely lost. There aren't that many things that I'm completely
Painting wall. We're never going to hang out after we retire.
No. It pretty much isn't painting a wall, but like detailed work on something that's either woodworking.
You get lost in it.
Get completely lost in it. Like
Yeah.
I did a thing for a while when I had the clothing company. I was doing like art and design. I've talked to you about this. Like I became obsessed with Jackson Pollock.
God, this is where you threw paint against the canvas.
Yeah, I used to do this. I used to buy huge canvases, or I'd build these canvases and I would like thin down paint and I would mess around, and I just like tried to try different things and just like let yourself do this just like super intense, you're in it thing for hours and hours and hours.
If you say expression, I'm gonna lose it.
No, I'm not gonna say expression, but dude, I mean, I sold a couple. All right, I did. I sold a couple. I don't really find those things very often. Like I did in music when I was younger, but then I like also got bored when I got to a certain point. I was like, I feel like I'm doing all the things that I can do at my level, and I'd have to work really, really hard to like do more shit to get lost in.
Yeah, you want to know how to play the piano. You don't want to learn how to play the piano.
Sure, but that made me think like I would probably try to find those things that I get completely lost in if I was ever like in a retirement phase. I don't know what those would be.
It's interesting. It's different than the answer last week. I'm glad we pushed on it harder. Mr. Invest in passive income in Barstow.
Well, you put me in Barstow. You pushed for me to think of older and older and older, because one of the first questions that I asked you was, are my parents still around at this point? And I said like, how would you spend your time if this isn't
sure?
I said, are my parents still
I still think that I would love to see you get bit by the travel bug, because I think you'd appreciate it.
But like, I guess I don't let myself think of that right now, because like when I mean, I could take the kids places. I suppose probably in a couple of years they'd be more interested in whatever, but otherwise it's like, and I know that you hate this, but otherwise it's like, okay, Wilder will be in college in 12 years.
Yeah, you're such a weird person. It's like I can't even understand it.
Well, he'll be in college in 12 years or out of the house. Or
so you're going to go to Europe for the very, very first time in your life when you're 58 and you think that's normal. Trying to find anyone in our friend group has not been to Europe.
You just aged. First of all, you just did all sorts of bad math.
No, I didn't.
In 12 years, I will not be 58.
46?
No, I'm not.
How old are you?
37. No, but I'm not 46.
Well, thanks for tuning into the Client Giant podcast.
Yeah, maybe next time we'll have a different opening and everything. I won't say who cares, because
Who does?
who cares? All right, do the normal thing. Like, subscribe, comment, send us things. We'll see you next time.